Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here, actually up late with my beautiful wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. How you doing today, babe?
I'm all right. How you doing this early hour in the morning?
I know, I
We're
know.
up.
Well, if people hear the recording, maybe on Spotify or something, they might think it's the afternoon. So,
Well, I think they should know that we are
well,
recording this in the
this is
middle of
real
the
pillow
night.
talk. Like we really are against our pillows. Yeah. So anyway, pillow talk is where my wife and I get together and lay against our pillows. And she is a professor of social work and is into love and relationships. She's a licensed therapist and sees couples. And my area is finance. I'm into money. I'm into blackness and money. So we tend to talk about things that relate to love and money. And today's topic is really interesting. So I want to first of all, I want to welcome everybody. Shout out the name of your city. Let us know what city you're from. We always like to shout out the city. Hello, my name is Corey, and hello, Cloudscape, Mysterio. I see you're up with us. I bet some of our friends in London will probably pop in.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I want to ask you all also, give me a yes or no as you shout out your city and hit the thumbs up button. Tell me, how many of you have heard of a rapper by the name of NBA Youngboy? Has anybody heard of the rapper NBA Youngboy? Have you ever heard of the rapper NBA
I
Youngboy,
haven't.
babe?
I think I may have heard that name float around in the house with all the teenagers,
That's so
amongst
true.
the teenagers in the house.
That's so true. Well,
Yeah.
Cordell is out of Boston. What's up, Cordero? Okay, so how many of y'all have heard of him, NBA YoungBoy? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've heard of him. NBA YoungBoy is a young rapper. A lot of young people like him. He's 22 years old. And now let me ask y'all. I'm gonna do another quiz. What does NBA stand for? Do you know?
Wait, you just told me. You said never broke again.
Yeah, never broke again. So NBA YoungBoy is
Oh.
is a young boy, a young brother who has who just made the headlines for about the 88th time in the last year for having 10 kids with 8 different women.
He just celebrated the birth of his 10th child with his fiance, by the way.
Yes, so he is engaged.
Yes.
It's his second fiance. His name is Kentrell. I don't have his last name in front of me. I don't want to switch screens because I don't want to mess up the live stream. But his name is Kentrell, and a lot of his kids have their names start with the letter K.
Look at that. I
Yeah.
like I like when people do that.
Well, that's really cool for legacy. I mean, that's what it is,
Right.
right? And so Israel says, does he have the money to take care of them, get a life? That's a good question, Israel. So let me go ahead and first of all lay this out.
Well,
And
if he's living up to his name, never broke again,
right, right.
then
Yeah.
come
Well, you know
on.
what? You know what? We should start there for
He gonna
sure.
be
Well, let's
doing
start
it.
there. Let's start there, right? I don't, how many kids other people have? That's their business, right? I think
Right.
it's everybody's right to do that. The first question I probably ask, if I knew a young guy, and I've known guys, I knew a guy who was 25 with 28 kids, and I wanted to ask him.
Wait, you know him personally?
I
You
knew
actually
I
know
knew I
somebody.
knew one of his 19 babies mamas, and I wanted to.
Boys, what circles are you
Well,
are you
yeah, well, I
operating?
mentored a lot of young people, and
Oh,
remember
it's
I used to.
somebody you decided to
Yeah,
mentor and
no,
take on.
remember I used to be a track coach in the hood. I mentored hundreds of kids. And also I got thousands of kids that will listen to me online. There's lots of kids, so I like that role. I like being the OG. I like being the mentor because I think I can teach things for children. I love black children. It is an honor to mentor black children. So let me tell you. So there was a guy who I knew one of his baby's mamas. I knew when she was 12. She grew up, became a baby's mama. He had 28 kids, 19 baby's mamas, and it was kind of sad because he was kind of in the street and he got murdered. And I remember when I heard about him getting killed, it was sad to me because I said, okay, here we got 28 kids in our community that have no father, 28 more children. Like, what happens with those kids? What happens to those kids? And the thing is, when people talk about money, one of the biggest mistakes I think people can make, because he was a dope dealer. He had dope dealer money. So
Wait,
people,
who did? Wait, this particular
right,
person.
he
Okay.
did, right.
Mhm.
So basically, where a lot of people make the mistake when they talk about how many kids you have is first thing they'll say was, well, do you have enough money to pay for it? If you have enough money, then that makes it okay. Now I want to get y'all, give me a yes or no in the chat. Do you think that money is all that you need to properly raise a child? Give me a yes or no. And I'm gonna ask you to answer that question, Dr. Alicia. What are your thoughts?
Mhm.
Is money, if I say I have $1 trillion, let's say I have let's say I have more money than Elon Musk. I'm the richest man on earth, and I have 45 kids because I'm Elon Musk and I can pay all that child support. Do you think that the money is all that a kid needs in order to be raised in a healthy situation?
Yeah, I'm actually reflecting on his name, Never Broke Again. And I know you were reading something about his past. And, I think he should switch it to Never Broken Again. Because he
Mm,
just seems like someone, based on his background, like he wasn't raised by either one of his parents. And he just, comes across to me as somebody who's been through a lot of unfortunate disruptions in his life. And how could that not break you?
well,
And so, to me, it just sounds like Never Broken Again. So hopefully he can um, think about that. And of course, you asking me about money, money isn't everything a child needs.
yeah,
Um,
that was a trick question.
of course, that was a rhetorical, definitely a rhetorical question. And he needs to think about that too, because all the money in the world won't bring his family back together.
Hmm.
And so I just think on some level maybe he's thinking Never Broken Again. And maybe, having these children and wanting to get married speaks to a desire in him to get it right.
Mm,
That's what
interesting.
I think.
Well, you know what? I read his background, and what was sad is that before I read his background, I knew what it was going to include.
Yeah, we all guess.
I knew that there was going to probably not be a father in the background. And his father unfortunately got 55 years in prison. I wondered what was going on with the mother. I don't know what was going on with the mother, but I know he was raised by his grandmother. And y'all
Hmm.
know what that usually means. It usually means something
Something
related to
happened.
maybe drugs or something like that. And also this poor guy, he's been locked up a lot. Like his rap sheet is real long to be 22 years old. I mean, and the thing about it that
Yeah.
bothers me, the thing that bothers me is how this recording industry just plays these young black men so bad. It fools them into thinking that all that glitters is gold. They get attracted to this hip hop music industry and they want to be part of this industry, like, because that's where you believe that you made it. But rappers are dying at an
Hmm.
extraordinary rate.
They really are.
Yeah, I mean, even J Ortiz out of Philadelphia, a young rapper that I work with that is coming to the All Black National Convention. He was very close friends. He was about to release some songs with PNB Rock in L.A. And out of the blue, PNB Rock gets shot in the middle of a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, just shot and killed. So the thing that's interesting to me is why are black people not talking about this? Why are we not more vocal? Why do we get so caught up in the white man's money? Like white men, they'll hand you a $50 million for your damn life, your future, your community, to destroy yourself, make yourself look crazy like a clown in front of the world. And you take the money and you say, well, he can't pay. That make it all good, dog. That make it all good. That don't make it all good. All money ain't good money. And I think that we forget that. I just really do. But I'm gonna calm down. Go ahead, babe. What you got to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I hear about his rap sheet and all that he's been through, it just reminds me of someone who's in a lot of pain. That's what I see. And
Mm,
and I think just anyway, for a lot of men, it's just so hard to find and establish really good intimacy with someone else,
mm,
especially with a woman. It's really difficult because women are just like, some women come across, they're just like, okay, pay my bills and provide for me financially. And, I think what that does is that leaves a lot of men feeling very alone.
mm-hmm,
I'm in my feelings today for some reason. I feel the need to comment and reflect on how there are a lot of men who even are in relationships that are very lonely.
mm,
I'm feeling like I need to talk about that today. And when I see someone like him, you were reading his was that Wikipedia page? You were
yeah.
reading his Wikipedia page before we came on here, and that was the thing that struck me the most.
Well, it could be. So by the way, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm a finance PhD. My wife has a PhD in social work, and she's also a licensed therapist and a certified trauma professional. And I'm about to bring that up and why that's important here. If you could,
Hmm.
please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I have a book called Financial Lovemaking. You can have it for free. You don't have to pay for it. You can get an e-copy. Just go to boyceandalicia.com. We tend to talk about topics that relate to love and money. We believe deeply in Black love and Black family, and we talk about a lot of topics that are thoughtful and interesting. And so, so with that being said, we're talking about NBA YoungBoy, a rapper who just had his 10th child with 8 women. He has a lot of money. Sure, the white man will pay you a lot of money to rap your lyrics, but at the same time, he has a lot of trauma. This brother's rap sheet. I know guys 50 years old that don't have a rap sheet that long. I mean, I'm talking about attempted
He's still
murder.
a baby. He's
Right.
only 22.
Yeah. And
There's so much of his life to live.
yeah, and you think about this and you say, okay, this is a dangerous game. You kind of playing partner, because my daddy was in the streets too. When my dad was 22, he could have easily not made it to 24. He was in Vietnam for God's sake. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's getting killed in Vietnam. And but he at 22, when he had his first couple of kids, he started to change his life. He lived it. And so with this brother, I wonder,
Is
what.
he turning around? Do you feel like? Because
Well,
look at
I
him
don't
hold these
know.
babies. Like, he is looking like, I am going to do better.
You
Like, the
hope
look
so.
on his face. That's the look on his face.
You hope so.
So,
You really hope so. But the problem is that hip hop is such a dangerous sport.
it is.
It is a dangerous sport. So it's
Yeah.
like, even when you try to evolve, even when you say, you know what, I'm done, I'm gonna put this stuff behind me, I'm gonna focus on my family and all this other stuff. It don't matter. The shit will come to you because hip hop is a death culture now. At
Mm-hmm.
least some parts of rap have become a culture of death. So if you get
Mm-hmm.
money in a cemetery, you're gonna end up in a casket.
At least the ones that are getting a lot of attention and a lot of uh, views, a lot of eyes on them, a lot of ears listening to what they have to say, a lot of concert goers. All of this
Mhm.
is in a way that it's very That's anti-family. Let's just put it that way.
It's
It's
anti-family.
anti-family,
It's anti-black.
anti-black.
It's
Yeah.
pro-incarceration.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
pro-death. It's anti-black male, anti-black woman. It is
Anti-black child. Let's not
anti-black
forget
wealth.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anti-black wealth. I mean, yeah, and so I really kind of, so I think when I see something like this, right, I see a community where many of us are going to be blinded. We're going to say, oh, well, you can have as many kids as you want as long as you're making money. But the problem with that is, one, money. It takes more than money to raise a child. We know that it takes time, attention, everything else. It's hard to do that with 8 or 9 different households. It just is. But then also, you got to think about, when you make money, you got to be able to protect your money. Like,
Oh,
if you're getting in shootouts and fights and everything else, and you constantly got drama coming to you, you won't keep your wealth very long, because eventually you'll get sued. I think that there's a lot of civil lawsuits happening with his brother right now. You will
you
end
gotta
up.
pay your taxes.
And the white man
You
will
gotta
take,
get your
and they will take
accounting.
and they will take all that money when you go to court for a criminal charge. Like,
Yeah.
the whole goal of the criminal justice system is to break you, especially like with those rappers in Atlanta that they got under the RICO charges. The
Mm-hmm.
goal of the government isn't just to lock you up. Their goal is to take everything from you.
Yeah, and ultimately what the goal is, and I talk about subconscious, is we're going to report on it and we're going to let the whole world know that you are going down fast.
Mm.
And it's the public display of it all. It's building these rappers up with all of the hate and the negativity in their lyrics, having them live by the sword and sometimes die by the sword, but it all has to be a public spectacle so that we all can see him. Instead of being a good father, we're going to see him fall. And that's the
Well,
bad part
well,
about
you
it.
know what? I hope we don't see him fall. Right?
Well, no,
Like, I
I'm
like I
talking
really.
about the symbology of it. I'm not talking
Right.
about the actual issue. I'm talking about the symbology of
Of
seeing
watching the
it.
black man fall.
I'm laying out the formula. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to him. I really hope it doesn't. But
Mhm.
that's the formula that we live by now. That's the order of the day.
It could be the order of the day, but I don't
Hmm.
believe a black man has to fall.
No, I don't
I
believe
think
so either.
I
I'm
think
just talking
right,
about the
right. I mean, if
formula.
you think about, for example, there was symbolism behind the fall of Bill Cosby. Well, Bill Cosby shouldn't have
Yeah.
been laid up in the Playboy Mansion with all them white women. He should have been in, with his wife a little bit more. So it doesn't mean Bill Cosby was a criminal.
He needed to be with
I don't.
Camille quite
What,
many
what what the thing
times.
is that a lot of brothers don't understand that your wife, they're having a family and a wife can protect you a little bit, from a world that wants to destroy you. So, with some of these guys, they think, okay, I can just go around and not use condoms because these girls won't force me to do it. I'm
No,
gonna
they won't.
have babies everywhere. No sense of family structure. Unfortunately, and it's not their fault because they would never raise any of that. They would never. I mean, think about this. If you never saw what a family looks like, how would you even know what it means to create one?
Well, I don't know. I kind of think that we all kind of have lots of images in our head, even though we didn't live it. Lots of images in our head about what a good, nice, good, healthy family looks like. I think we understand that because I don't want it to seem as if just because you grew up a certain way, you can't have a nice, satisfying, healthy family life for yourself, because I've seen it. I've seen many people say, you know what, I didn't grow up this way, but I know that that's the ideal. And I know that that's what's healthy for me and for my children. And so I want to make sure that I have that in my life. So I have a lot of people in my office like that. I know a lot of people who have been able to turn things around, no matter. So I don't want to get into something where your background determines how your life is going to be in the future. Definitely can determine a lot of things about yourself, but I think that you can consciously kind of wake up to all of that and turn it around. So I don't want to say that it's just over for you because you did not have the ideal situation growing up.
Well, I don't. I agree with that for sure.
Right.
Like you can be anything you want to be,
Of course.
right? But it helps. Your culture helps. The culture you're raised in does help. Like I could go climb Mount Everest. I could go take classes on how to climb a mountain and learn how to climb Mount Everest. But I'm gonna be way behind those kids who grew up where there were mountain climbers in their family.
It's
They're
okay.
a white. I get it.
It's
I know. I
okay.
get it. I know it's okay. I know it's
Mhm.
okay. But the thing is, to change at that level requires intention. It's an extreme amount of intentionality,
Absolutely.
right? Like So what I would say though is overall, most people aren't going to have that. Most people, most of us, 90% of us pretty much live our lives the way we were raised. Like I was raised,
Not
I was no, no, no.
necessarily.
Most of us do, but let me explain. Let me explain. I was raised, like to believe in, things like hard work and personal responsibility and education. So I got a lot of education. I work really hard, and I believe I've tried to be personally responsible. Now, at the same time, to your point, I've also seen some things growing up that I was like, this is a generational curse I'm gonna let go of.
Exactly.
And so that intentionality was required and was able to do that. So anything is possible. Anything is possible. I could win $1 billion in the lottery. That's possible too.
Yeah, but it's
But
probable too because
but I don't think it's probable.
okay,
That's what
I'm
I
going
don't
to
think.
tell you how I think it's
Go ahead.
probable. I think it's probable because I like to look at the data. I like to look at because healthy relationships have a pattern. Unhealthy relationships also have a pattern. They all look the same. There are some similar elements to it. And if you just know that, if you just say, okay, healthy relationships have this sort of element to it, why can't you reach that?
I'm not
I
saying
mean,
you
it
can't.
is very much
I didn't say no. I
probable.
agree. Like I
No,
could.
we're talking possibility versus
Yes.
probability, and I think it is highly probable.
I don't think it's probable. I don't think in
Oh,
our community was so destroyed by mass incarceration that there are people splattering babies everywhere with no sense of what is required to like raise a healthy child. They're not even thinking about that. They're thinking about getting some ass, having an orgasm, and that's it. I'm not saying this what's going on with this guy.
oh,
I'm not dissing this brother here. I'm not saying what he's doing is messed up because I don't know what his plan is. Maybe it's his grand plan to do whatever he's gonna do. But all of us know. I bet people in the chat can tell you that they probably know some guys that got so many kids they don't even know where their kids are at. They don't even know. Kids are showing up on their doorsteps like, "Hey, you my daddy." And daddy's like, I ain't got nothing for you. Now this is not the first generation to do that though, right? Wilt Chamberlain, I met Wilt Chamberlain's granddaughter. She said the family don't talk to her because they're like, well, of course, he got a lot of grandkids that he don't know about, because he was irresponsible with his seed. And I think that of all the voices out in the woods, there are plenty of voices out there that will cheer on a rapper no matter what is going on with his life or his family. They'll cheer on a Lizzo. They'll cheer on, the thug culture, But I think we need more voices also that are going to say, hold up, let's think about the community and what we're doing with our kids. And I really would say that in some, like for example with DMX, a lot of people were cheering him on when he made a great song, but wasn't nobody really getting in his face and saying, man, you need help. We're going to take you off his damn stage, put you in rehab because your children need you to live. We don't give a shit about how popular you are and how much white folks will pay money to watch you get on stage. That ain't what this is about. This is about your mental and physical health. And now the man's dead because nobody ever stepped to him like that.
Okay, listen, you're putting you just talked about personal responsibility, but then you turned around and talked about how it is important for all of us to step in, and somewhere along the line someone should have made an intervention. So the thing is that, DMX was doing the best he can do. Could he have made different choices? Yes. I think he was doing his best. And you can put
He wasn't
somebody,
doing his best.
you can put somebody,
I don't think he was doing his best.
you can put somebody,
I'm just gonna say that I don't think he was doing his best. I'm just gonna say that I think he was trying, kind of, but I don't believe he was doing his best. He wasn't doing what was required. He was. But go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
You can put somebody in rehab, and guess what? All they're gonna do is come out of rehab and you use again, because you cannot change other people. And so only reason for DMX or anybody else to kick whatever habit, they have to check themselves into rehab. It has to be a decision that they have to make. It has to come from them. You cannot save yourself. The best thing you can do in this world is I mean, you cannot save other people. The best thing you can do in this world is just try to save yourself and let that be an inspiration to other people. But I think when you get into this mode where you're trying to just save everybody, it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do agree, and I wouldn't say that.
You give
I
people the
wouldn't say that
tools
I
to
would.
save themselves.
I agree, and I wouldn't say that a brother that's 22 that has 10 kids needs to be saved. Again, he might have his own family plan. This might be his Planned Parenthood. I'm not hating on it. What I'm saying is that we as a culture, we do have the ability to influence each other, right?
Okay,
Like, so
of course.
for example, how many of y'all in here got a relative or friend that you know is having lots of kids with lots of women and is not thinking about his future or the futures of his children? How many of y'all know somebody like that? Give me a yes in the chat if you know somebody who has been a little bit sloppy with their seed. Now, I'm not talking about this guy. You can make your own judgment on that. But most of y'all probably know somebody who's doing that. Now, here's the deal. As families, we have a choice. Many of our families, we look right past that. In many of our families, we don't judge it. We don't say nothing to them. We don't make them feel bad. We don't. We just act like it didn't even happen. Now, if it's but pay attention though. If it's a mama who's not taking care of her kids, if her kids are dirty and not taken care of, oh, we put the hammer on that. Grandma is calling you, Aunt Lucy's calling you. People are putting pressure on you. Now that you can't make nobody change. You're right. Some women will get all that pressure and ignore it completely. But there are a lot of women who will feel that pressure and say, okay, I better respond because my family has standards. My family has expectations of me, and I have to meet those expectations. So my question that I want to ask is, what are our expectations for the black man? Where are the standards for the black man? And what are we supposed to do? Like, I mean, do we just is that what it is? Like, if I go, I've made a lot of money. I don't make as much money as him, but I've made many, many millions of dollars. So does that mean that I can just go through the world and do whatever I want, or are there expectations of me?
Well, don't you do everything that you want?
No, no, I do not.
You don't.
No, I do not. I do not do everything I want.
Well, what do
Believe me.
you want to do that you don't
Do you
do?
know how many times I wanted to just slap somebody who made me mad?
Oh,
Or
you were having a Will Smith moment
whatever.
where you're
Yeah,
just like, oh, the Will Smith in
yeah.
me.
Or you know how many times there's a lot of, believe me, there's a lot of stuff. I walked by the refrigerator today and I wanted to eat some ice cream. And I know you wouldn't have stopped me, but I stopped myself because I said I gotta have a standard. If I don't learn how to walk past the ice cream, I'm gonna get fat. And so what I'm
Well,
saying,
that's ultimately your choice, right?
it
It
is
ain't your
my
mama.
choice.
It ain't your mama that told you to don't eat that ice
It
cream. She
is
can't say nothing
it
to
is
you.
my choice. But
Hmm.
if I decided I'm gonna eat ice cream every day, all day, and I get obese and I get diabetic and I'm in the hospital and hardly nobody's coming to see me, and I say,
What do
wow,
you mean? Why would no one come to see
y'all would
you?
come see me. But what if I said,
I will
like,
come see
yeah,
you.
but I get it. But what if I said nobody will come see me and bring me my ice cream? Y'all would be like, well, boy, you put yourself in this situation.
Well, that's
So
my
so you
choice
right. Well,
now.
I agree. It
Hmm.
is your choice, but I think at the same time, we have to stop sort of thinking that community accountability has no impact on people. I do think that when the community checks you and kind of says, like for example, I think that with hip hop artists, when they
Mm-hmm.
started getting challenged more for the fact that they weren't connecting to the black community, they started reconnecting. You started seeing. I had a 4-hour argument with Beyonce's road manager in 2016 or 20. No, no, it was probably 2014, and I said, "Why is Jay-Z rapping about all this stupid materialistic stuff? He needs to be teaching these people about wealth and all the ways that he became rich and powerful." And they said, "Oh, Jay's pro-black. He just has to do certain things a certain way because that's the way the culture is." I'm like, man, to hell with the culture. You're supposed to be shaping the damn culture.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if what I said made an impact at all. But I do know that a year later he released 444, which to me was a turning point in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
types of messages he was sharing with the community. So I just really think, in general,
Mm-hmm.
we control all of this. Like, I don't think it's a matter of just saying, well, we just gonna let chips fall where they may. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. No, I believe in power.
Yeah, I think that's really nice. And I think that Jay-Z has evolved,
Yeah,
right?
yes, he
He's
has.
different from how he was when he was back, but he was ultimately his choice.
Yes, it was.
I think someone can put pressure on you, someone can tell you to do XYZ, someone can tell you not to do XYZ, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's you. It's you and your choice. You have to define who and what you're going to be. I am. You got to be the I am.
Hmm.
I can't define it for you because you can only say I am to yourself. I can't give you an I am. Only you could do it for yourself, if you understand what I mean.
Well, one thing I will say, and by the way, you listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Dr. Alicia Watkins is a therapist, and she's been seeing patients and couples for the last 20 years. And if you'd like to learn more about what she does, you can go to coachingwithdralicia.com or follow her on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. She's also going to do speed dating this year at the All Black National Convention, which is October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you'd like to be around Black people who think the way you think, who want to
Mm-hmm.
build a strong community, who believe in Black wealth, Black love, and Black power and Black unity, please visit allblacknationalconvention.com. It's going to be a great convention, a lot of learning. Alicia's doing speed dating again, and it's going to be a
Well,
lot of
hold
fun.
on. I'm gonna jump in here. I'm
Yes.
gonna do more than just speed dating.
Yes, you are.
How about that?
You're on another panel, right? What was it? The mental health
You
panel?
don't even remember. Yeah,
Mm,
so I'm gonna moderate a panel with some excellent mental health experts out
very
there
nice.
talking
Okay.
about relationships.
Okay.
I'm also I think I have a breakout session, boys. Do you know that?
No.
Yeah, I
What
have
is
a
it?
breakout session. I'm gonna talk about the family. I'm gonna talk about trauma. I'm gonna talk
Mm,
about healing. I'm talking about all of that.
wow.
And my style is more workshop style, so it'll be interactive and all of that fun stuff. So I'm on the schedule, boys. I done made
Yes,
my
you
way on
are.
your schedule.
Well, you are on the schedule, and you're super important. And I love that pink, or
That
not
is
pink. I'm
not
sorry.
pink.
I'm sorry. That yellow jumpsuit. I think you look like the prettiest lady.
You like that picture, don't
You're the
you?
most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yes, that's
Oh, thank
100%
you,
true.
baby.
Thank
Mwah.
you. Love you. All right, so let me
Mwah.
hop back in. Let's jump back to the topic at hand. Okay,
Okay, back
back
to
to
the
the lecture
topic.
at hand. When you talk about NBA young boy having 10 kids with 8 women, look, the goal is not to really pop in and say, okay, what's wrong with you? This is crazy. I kind of see it honestly. He's 22. He's got a lot of money. It comes with a lot of female attention. He went through a lot as a kid. His father got 55 years in prison. I blame people like Joe Biden for that and their mass incarceration laws. This is what you're dealing with in this generation, Black people. You're dealing with a community that's been absolutely obliterated, like they put a whole tornado in the Black family, and their goal was to destroy the Black family, to make you dependent on the government and everything else, and it worked. So really what I'm looking at here is I'm looking at a scenario where you've got a lot of kids out here that are dependent on daddy. Daddy is in a lot of heat. Daddy has a lot of pending criminal cases, a lot of civil suits that are threatening every piece of his legacy, threatening his wealth, threatening his life. He's in the hip hop music industry where rappers are dying. There's a rapper that dies about once every week or two, and if anybody thinks that that is a good situation, I really wish I could talk to you. I really wish I could help you understand that sometimes the things that glitter ain't always gold. You know, things that you think are a dream are really a nightmare. And we got our young boys, dreaming about becoming rappers. And I just talked to a rapper the other day. I talked to a friend of PNB Rock. I'll just say his name, Jay Ortiz, out of Philadelphia. He's a young rapper, blowing up, doing really well, and he's working out in LA. Just got a contract with the NFL and everything else. And Jay said that watching his friend die in this profession
Mm-hmm.
made him reconsider. He said, "Man, I don't know if I want to do this." You know,
Oh yeah.
like it's a dangerous damn game. So the thing is, we got to start keeping up with stuff. We got to keep up with the narrative. We still caught up in this whole idea that entertainment that's the dream. That ain't the dream, man. That's the nightmare.
It is a nightmare.
Very traumatic
I
too.
that I mean, and I think like that rapper that was killed recently. What was his name?
PNB Rock.
PNB Rock. I've never heard of him, but of course that's terrible. Like now that he's passed on, now I listen to some of the stuff that he's written and he's about. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
You know what I
very
mean? It's
talented.
really positive. It almost puts me in a mindset of the other one,
Nipsey Hussle,
Nipsey
maybe.
Hussle. Like
Yep,
his
Nipsey
music
Hussle.
was
That's another great
phenomenal.
one.
Like these aren't like I wouldn't even think that he raps about like terrible, awful things. You know, some of the
No,
things you talk about. So I mean, that's the part. It's just almost like rapper murder. It's like almost like congruent in your head, even though rappers have a range of things that they talk about, but it's like they all go down that same hole.
and that's just dark energy.
It really
I
is.
mean, that's bringing real dark energy into your life, and you're right. When I think about PNB Rock, and particularly PNB
His
Rock
music was
and
interesting.
Nipsey Hussle,
Mm-hmm.
let me just say this: both of those guys followed this platform. Both of those guys followed Powernomics.
Mm-hmm.
Like PNB Rock had just left his record label and was speaking to Jay, and I know Jay. Jay's Jay's one of the kids I mentor. I've been to knowing him for years. Jay said that PNB Rock's whole goal was to pursue black wealth. Like he left his label
You're
because
kidding me,
no,
really?
he left his label because he said, I want to build a legacy for my family. I want to
Uh,
build black wealth. They would talk about the stuff we talk about on this podcast.
really? So, I mean, I don't want
Powernomics.
to get into no conspiracy here,
Yeah,
but gee whiz, what's happening here?
yeah.
Somebody needs to look into this.
Yeah, and right before Nipsey Hussle died, I remember Nipsey Hussle is the one that inspired me to invest in the Tulsa real estate fund because I saw Jay had announced it and he was raising his money. Nipsey made a comment in Jay's Instagram. He said, "Man, this is amazing, bro. This is historic. I'm gonna invest $10,000." So I said, "Great, I'll match that." I put it under Nipsey's comment. I said, "I'll match you. I'll put 10,000 in too."
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like you got these guys that have so much potential. Some of them might still be Malcolm Little, but you had some of them that were turning into Malcolm X.
Yeah, and that's
And you know what happened to Malcolm
there
X.
ain't never no space
Yeah,
in their agenda for that sort of scenario.
yeah,
We
yes.
cannot have another rise of a black messiah.
Well, that's not what they want, but I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you, it's up to us to decide how long we're gonna let this stuff go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so long story short, I want to my conclusion on PNB, not PNB, I'm sorry, young NBA young boy, and his 10 kids is look, don't try this at home. If you didn't just sign a $64 million contract, please don't try this at home. And even if you did, you may want to think twice about it. The average cost of raising a child is $300,000. So if you have 10 kids, that means you are $3 million in debt. Also, the worst part is that when your children are being raised in a bunch of different households, they don't form a connection to you like you would love. And the problem is that then it's like taxation without representation. You're paying all this child support, and your kids don't even like you because you don't know, because whatever their mama is saying about you when you ain't there, that's going to
Hold
shape
on.
how the children feel about you.
Okay, but
That's what I believe.
we don't know that that's what's happening in his
No,
situation,
we don't
right?
know that. No, no, no,
So,
absolutely not.
so the thing is that it doesn't have to be that. There is parting words is if you have children, kind of 10 kids splattered. I shouldn't say splattered, but kind of all around. I don't think it's over for you. I do think that you can. It's going to take some work, but you can work to try to uh, make a unique connection with all of them. I mean,
Absolutely.
it can happen. It is not over for you. I'm always going to be the one that's always going to hold the light in the corner. I'm always going to see
Hmm.
the bright side. I'm going to be Mrs. Brightside. That's always going to be my perspective.
Well, I'm
Um,
Mr. prevention. I'm Mr. the announcer prevention is
Yeah,
what the
but they
pound of
all
cure.
here
So
now.
I'm the guy who says, put on a condom so that you don't have these
Oh my
problems. But
gosh,
then if
yes.
you do create these situations, then yeah, you got to do the best you can with what you got. But I just know too many guys who are 35 who are literally crying because they can't afford their child support. And I'm like, well, did you think about all that when you were 25 and you were making all those kids? And it's very unfortunate. Some of them can't even see their own children. So
Why can't they see their
it
kids?
just depends. Sometimes if the mother makes it hard, mothers have a lot of power. Mothers have a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
power.
A lot of that is changing. I think the research is out there about. Of course, I'm going to be the bright side here.
No,
A lot of
I'm
those.
giving the bright side. I'm giving the game. But sometimes the game ain't really as bright as we want it to be. Go ahead.
Can I talk?
Go ahead. Get the bright side.
Okay. I'm saying a lot of things are changing. There's a lot of information out about parental alienation. It happens, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes very deliberately, about one parent becomes alienated. It is a form of child abuse. It is a form of partner abuse. And it's something that a lot of courts and a lot of social workers and judges and lawyers are starting to become more aware of. And I think that things are changing in the court system where they're trying to support the non-custodial parent, whoever that may be, to make sure that they continue with this connection and that some of these families get the help that they need. I've been involved in a lot of parental alienation cases here in our county. And so I'm seeing, at least in Illinois, a shift for the better. So I'm always going to be hopeful for the future that things will get better, that the custodial parent, because I don't want to say it's the mom. It's not always the mom, and mothers do lose custody of their children, by the way. So it's starting to change.
I
You know,
agree. I just don't believe black men can depend on the courts for justice.
well, that's
But
true.
maybe there's some
That's
places.
true.
I,
But
I imagine there's places where good things happen, and I'm not saying that it can't. I'm just saying overall, I believe in personal power and choice to be strategic about how you
you
make
can't
your
force
choices.
somebody
I don't want to depend on
into.
the court system to give me justice I could have given myself.
Okay, boys, that's very nice. But I just think that courts do get involved in the lives of people. I think that legally, when you get divorced or when there's paternity and there's all of these things going on, the court system is there for people. And so if you choose to participate in it, I think it would be really lovely that you never need to participate with the court system, that you can just work with the custodial parent and non-custodial parent could just work together and never have to go through the court system. That would be my best scenario. But
Yeah.
the court system is there when the communication starts to break down and you can't come up with a decision and you can't plan and you can't get together. You do need to have a third party involved. But I think it would be wonderful, if we all could just sit down and come up with a better way that is beneficial for the children involved. Being an
Well,
adult.
let's hope so.
Yeah.
Let's hope. All right, everybody. Well,
Okay.
you listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. Dr. Alicia Watkins is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. You can check out the work that she does. She sees clients. You can go to coachingwithdralicia.com to learn more about that. And also, don't forget that October 28th through the 30th, we're going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina for the All Black National Convention. We are having a meet and greet for volunteers tomorrow, Sunday actually, and that's going to happen.
Are
So
you going to be there? Are you going to meet and greet and
not yet,
volunteer?
not at this stage, no.
No.
But
Okay.
it maybe a little bit later.
Well,
Uh,
shout out to the volunteers, man. We need them
yeah. Well,
to
you
keep
know
it
what?
going.
We have to train them to make sure everybody knows what they're doing and
I see.
the convention goes well, and we got security and everything else. So it's a lot. It's a lot of work. Doing a convention without things like corporate sponsorship and all that takes a lot of
So
work.
Chase didn't sponsor us.
I do not want Chase to be a sponsor. No,
Bank of America didn't sponsor
no.
us.
Bank of America is not a sponsor. No.
Fidelity didn't. I'm sponsoring them. I'm shouting out their name.
Yeah, exactly. I do not want corporate sponsorship because then we can't invite people like Reza Islam and Dr. Christina Parks and others. So I want black folks to hear from the people that we need to hear from so our community can be better. So if you believe in this kind of thing and this is your sort of thing, you want to be around like-minded people, the convention sells out on a regular basis. So if you Want to get a seat, you may want to get your tickets online early. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. So everybody, thank you for listening. It was wonderful talking to you. God bless you and have a good night. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Goodbye, everyone.